All right. Y'all, if you can't tell, I'm excited. This is like literally the first time we're doing Cooking Up Sales with Cast Iron. I've taught on, all kinds of live streams, virtual events, and all that kind of stuff. But for some reason, this just feels a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'm excited to be participating in it. So welcome, everybody. I am Sid Mitchell of the Sugar Queen Academy and of Sweet Fest. And I have partnered with Cast Iron, which is an online sales platform for folks that are in the foodie space to be able to sell your treats, your cakes, your baked goods, your deliciousness, all over the internet. And so if you know me for a little while, I'm also like a tech person. I'm also a nerd. I'm really big into tools and software that will help make your life easier. And it was so awesome the way I bumped into Cast Iron. They found me on Instagram. I had probably already found them on the internet as well. And then from researching their business, researching the software and the platform, it just kind of felt like a really great partnership. They reached out and asked me to help out with some things. So I'm just really excited to be able to provide that support for them and for you guys who are looking for an opportunity to sell online. If you already have a website, don't worry about it because Cast Iron actually integrates very well with other platforms. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. Okay, so let's see if I can I get to the next slide? Maybe, yes. Boom. All right. So here is our agenda. We're going to have an introduction. I'm going to tell you the purpose of today's training, and I'm even going to touch on what this series is, like what Cooking Up Sales with Cast Iron is all about. Then we're going to talk about sales barriers. We're actually going to talk about 5 different sales barriers that you want to break through in order to be able to convert people from followers and onlookers to people who are actually purchasing with you. And then we're going to have an open Q&A for those of you who have questions about either Cast Iron or about sales in general to help you with boosting your sales for your baking and sweets business. Okay, so introduction. I'm Sid. That's me, except with straight hair instead of curly hair. But I'm Sid, and I went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Keenan Flagler Business School. I also went to UNC Chapel Hill for undergrad, and I specialized in accounting. I went to the business school, and you guys, it was an awesome experience, but also at the same time, I realized that my heart really kind of lied with helping folks who are entrepreneurs, helping them get the tools that they need to be successful in business, because there's so many creative people out there who want to have a business, but not sure how to run a business. And so I use what I learned in business school, working for PwC, which is PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the largest public accounting firms in the world. The experience that I have from my accounting background, from my financial analytics kind of side, and just helping you guys with understanding business so that you can use it and grow and be successful and have the entrepreneurial life that you would like to have. All right. So that's me in a nutshell. I worked for, like I said, PwC, Lincoln Financial, Comcast, as well as Apple. All those places, I was either a customer rep or a financial, in financial analysis or in just accounting in general. And so all of the stuff that I do is usually around numbers or tech. All right. So the other underneath that line is all the businesses that I'm either own or I participate in some shape or form. So I have Sweet Fest, I'm in the Sugar Queen Academy, as well as the Ultimate Sugar Show. And then I am the business blogger for the Retail Bakers of America. I'm the business columnist for American Cake Decorating, a partner with Pastry Arts Magazine and helping with their Pastry Summit, as well as now I'm partnering with Cast Iron to help with their business content as well. And so, like I said, business is just everything about me is business related. All right. So that's me in a nutshell. The purpose of today's session, and even just on a broader level, because I don't have a slide about this, but on a broader level, the purpose of this whole series, Cooking Up Sales with Cast Iron, is to help those of you who have an account with Cast Iron or could potentially have an account with Cast Iron understand more about how to boost your sales, boost your marketing, and the business side to support you in the way that you can make more money using these platforms such as cast iron. Okay, so that's the whole purpose of the whole series. And this is the first one. We have 2 more coming up, one in September and one in October. And I'm even going to talk about what the next topic is going to be for next month as well. So make sure that you keep an eye out every time I send an email or every time you see something about it on social media, because you definitely want to be involved in some of these classes, because this is stuff that I've either never talked about before, or it's something that's going to specifically impact you on your online sales. Okay, so again, cast iron is going to be a great platform to support all the things that I'm talking about in all of the trainings over the next 2 months. All right, cool. So the purpose of this specific training, though, is to provide guidance and insights on how to improve the buying process for your customer, the buying experience for your customers, and as a result, increase sales for your food business. Okay, so that's the whole purpose of today's session, and then the future trainings will be about other things. Okay, in this training, we'll focus on potential purchase barriers in your sales process and discuss solutions to removing those barriers and improving your sales conversions. All right, this will all make sense in just a minute. We're going to talk about what are sales barriers. Okay, so those are the purpose of what we're going to talk about, and here is what we're going to talk about is the sales barriers. Okay, so you may have noticed that you can get a lot of traffic from your social media pages or your website, but then there may be an issue with converting those folks from onlookers or followers, and they don't actually come into the place where they're buying from you. And the struggle there is because of one or more of these common sales barriers that we're going to talk about. And I say all this to say, I hear this from you guys all the time. It's like, you know, I'm getting all this traffic from Reels, or I'm getting like good traffic from social media, but nobody is buying from me. And 9 times out of 10, it has something to do with some type of sales barrier that's keeping them from actually becoming a customer of yours and actually spending money with you. Okay. A sales or a purchase barrier is the actual definition, is an element of your sales process that keeps a potential customer from becoming an actual customer. All right. And we want to reduce those barriers, we want to get rid of them so that people will actually spend money with you. Okay. So in this training, we're going to discuss 5 common sales barriers that might be killing your actual sales. Okay. So if you haven't taken time to review your sales process in the last 6 months to a year, I definitely recommend that you do this within the next week of this training. Okay, so for instance, what is today? Tuesday. So by next Tuesday, I want you to make sure that you've gone through your sales process and review and figure out what exactly may be the missing piece and why people may or may not be purchasing from you. Okay, if you are on my email list, then you saw last week I had given this for homework so that you guys could be prepared for today, but you didn't necessarily need to do it for today, but I definitely want you to do it by next Tuesday. Okay, deal? Go ahead and type in the chat, deal, so that I know you're good with that. Okay. Okay, so to review your sales process, I want you to walk through the process as if you are your ideal customer. If you're in the Sugar Coin Academy, you heard me say this probably like at least 1,000 times, that you need to put fresh eyes on your sales process. And I know you may have done that a year ago, you may have done that 6 months ago, but I want you to continue to do it so that you make sure that it's continually improving. Your website, the first time you launch it, it's not, or should I say, it shouldn't stay that way forever and ever. You should always try to make different improvements to it so that people can find things correctly. You make updates to your menu. There's all kinds of things that happen differently in your business. There's new technologies, there's new social media apps. And so you want to make sure that your website is as up to date as possible, especially as the seasons change. Okay. All right. So one of the issues that is a common, like one of the 5 common barriers is navigation issues. Okay. So one of the common barriers in this whole grand scheme of things is navigation issues. Okay. you want to make it super easy for customers to find what they are looking for. Okay. When you make it difficult, then they come to your website and they bounce right out. All right. There's a statistic when it comes to your website analytics. It's called bounce rate. You may not see it on your social media. You may not see it on some other places, but if you have Google Analytics, then you should be able to see when people bounce off of your website. All right. The bounce rate is very important. And if you have a high bounce rate, that means people are coming to your site, they're staying for a hot second, and then they're leaving. The higher the bounce rate, the worse it is. All right. So you want to make sure that when people come to your website, things are easy to find. Okay. Popular items should be on your main page or towards the top of your page. All right. That's one of the reasons why I do love Cast Iron as a sales platform, because everything is all on one page. Like really, you don't have to really dig through anything to get to the products that people are looking to purchase. All right. So popular items, if you have a traditional website, you definitely want to have popular items on the main page or at the top of the page. Don't make it to where people have to click through like 3 or 4 different buttons in order to get to somewhere where they can place an order with you. Make sure that it is right there up front as soon as they get to that particular link whatever the link is that you're using. Okay. Did I lose an earring? Oh, you gotta love live. I never put it on, guys. How come nobody told me? All right, here we go. Boom. Like right in the middle. I'm like, something feels off. Okay, sorry about that. I got a little distracted. Thought it was a part of the wardrobe. Got you. All right, now we're complete. All right. So if you have or serve a diverse client base, create menu categories to help customers navigate your platform. Okay. So for instance, if you serve wedding clients, and if you serve a celebration like birthday clients, or if you have corporate orders, then you want to make sure that you make it easy for people to find what they're looking for. Again, navigation issues is actually one of the top killers of sales. I've been on so many people's websites, because I also review websites. Been on so many people's websites where I come on there and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm not even sure what I'm looking. I don't even know what I'm looking for. I don't even know how to place an order. I don't know how to submit a quote, all that kind of stuff. And so if you just make it easy by having categories, you can do the same thing with your navigation bar on your traditional website. But then also over on Cast Iron, you can actually have different categories of your products. So when you're creating a product on Cast Iron, you have an opportunity to create a category. This is not my website on Cast Iron. This is actually Ella's Sweet Spot on Cast Iron. However, I just, I took a screenshot of her already published cute and adorable website. And she actually has 4 different categories that people can choose from when they are looking for certain items to purchase from her. She's got Cake Witch, she's got a Cakey, she's got a Party Pack, and she's got a Variety Box. And when you click on each of those items right there in that little circle, when you click on each of those categories, it takes you directly to that particular category of product that you may be looking for. Okay, so the customer can find it so much easier than trying to dig through and see if there's a variety pack or a party pack or something like that. Okay, so you can use this on your website, and you can for sure use this on your Cast Iron website. Okay. Okay, another thing too, when it comes to navigation issues that you can avoid is to make sure that your links that you send to customers go to the right place. Okay, so for instance, what that looks like on your social media is if you have that one link that's in your bio, then maybe you have a link behind that that's a link tree or something like that, that categorizes out what you're trying to, the places you're trying to direct people to. So for instance, if you have a custom order form on your website, or if you have a gallery, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, or if you have a particular article that, helps people figure out how to plan their first, wedding tasting, cake tasting or something like that. Then you can have even different categories underneath your link in bio. But you want to make sure, like I said, when you're reviewing the customer sales process, you want to make sure that you check those links, that they're going to the right places. You don't want to be sending people to broken links, because what happens is they get frustrated, they get lost, and then they just go away and they're like, forget this. I don't have time to be dealing with this. There's times where we will invest our time in going down a rabbit hole, but generally it's for something else. It's typically not for something that we're about to spend our money on. All right. So you want to make it as quick and painless as possible and so upfront and easy. Okay. So one of the things to keep in mind too is when it comes to cast iron, you can have your actual product link available. Now, this is a little bit longer because it does have a sweet spot and the product and all that kind of stuff. However, if you are sending out an email news blast, or if you are doing a promotion on your social media, then you can have a button, and this button will go directly to this link. People don't actually have to see this link, but this is the actual link that you're going to want to share with folks when it comes to, she's like, now I want a cake witch. When it comes to actually making the sales, this is what's going to make it a lot easier, because now you've got it to where it's just one button, right? So imagine you sent out an email blast and you're like, birthday cake witches are 10% off this weekend only, purchase here, right? And you've got a button in your email that says purchase here. And that purchase here button goes directly to this place where the first thing they see is add to cart. Okay, so make sure that you are keeping those things in mind when you are sending out links, when you're posting things on social media. Make it as easy as possible. Okay, make it to where they don't get lost. All right. All right. Another barrier to the sales process, the purchase process, is having bad images. Now, you guys know what bad images are. The lens is blurry, the background is grainy, it doesn't look appetizing, right? You guys already know what it is. I'm not going to show examples of bad images. I'm only going to show examples of good images, okay? But never forget that customers eat with their eyes, okay? Since they will likely interact with your business online first, probably 80% of the time, they're going to interact with your business online first. You must make sure that your menu items are visually appealing. And this is not just on your website. This is not just on your online sales platform. This is also on your social media. This is, when you are at pop-up events, obviously you will have your cakes and treats on display, but at the same time, you want to have really good pictures for your banners, for your marketing materials, and all that good stuff. Okay. Okay, if you're not confident in your photography skills, you can take a class. That's number one. Number two, you can schedule a professional photo shoot. Or three, you can use royalty-free stock photos. Okay, I have a little asterisk, a little caveat when I talk about stock photos. I don't want you to use, images of items that is not like something that you can reproduce. So keep that in mind. But if you find a really pretty stock image of a basic cupcake and you know how to use a 1M tip, then that's okay. All right. But don't go to somebody else's website and take their picture and try to pass it off as your own. That's not what I'm saying. There are royalty-free stock images that are available all over the internet that you can either purchase or you can download for free, and you can use those as almost like a placeholder when it comes to basic things, right? So again, don't post a Natalie Side Surf sculpt a cake because you may not be able to reproduce something like that, nor is that your actual work. Okay, that makes sense? Hope that makes sense. All right, so the cheat code, and I say cheat code, I mean, it's like the easy way to go about it. The cheat code for good images in a pinch, like for instance, it only takes you, I have done it before, 10 to 15 minutes to set up your website on cast iron. No joke, that's how long it took me to do it, okay? So even though it may take you 10 to 15 minutes to create your website on cast iron, if you're trying to launch this before you've had a chance to take the photography class or before you've had a chance to get a professional photo shoot, you can have like placeholder pictures that you get from the internet, from a sanctioned royalty-free stock photo place, to use as like, you know, temporarily until you can get actual photos of your work. Okay. All you're going to do is Google, literally Google royalty-free stock photos, and several websites will pop up: Shutterstock, Unsplash, Pexels, you name it. There's a ton of places for free. Okay, cool. Yelloretta, don't post Natalie Side Surf stuff and act like it's yours. Please don't do it. Okay. Also, if you want to take a photography class, this is a shameless plug. I do have a cake photography class, which I decided to put on sale just for you guys. I'm knocking $100 off because I actually, one of my pet peeves is bad pictures, bad food pictures. Okay. So I want to make sure that you guys have really great food photography when it comes to your websites. And because of that, I knocked $100 off of the class just so you guys can have that and, you know, teach yourself more about food styling and food photography and editing. So definitely use Cast 822. Like I said, shameless plug over on bettercakepics.com. Okay, so that's my shameless plug. Take a screenshot so you can come back to that a little bit later. And that code is available through Tuesday, right? So you have a whole week to get that. All right, cool. Shameless plug. All right, so when it comes to pictures, make sure that you have a gallery on your website, almost like your portfolio. I mean, I don't even want to say almost, like, use your website as your portfolio when it comes to this is what I'm able to do. Now, I don't want you to have a gallery full of stock images. That's not what I'm saying to do, okay? But if there are custom orders that you've done, or if there's stuff that, you know, you've gotten from a professional photographer for like a wedding, or maybe you did a styled shoot, or you did something like that, like, make sure you have really clean pictures on a gallery on your website. Really cool thing is that a new feature on cast iron is that they do have a gallery now, and it'll be like a separate tab on your website so that people can get a chance to see what your work looks like. You can add up to 50, should I say, you can add up to 50 photos within your gallery, which is plenty. But here are my actual tips for having a gallery. And you guys, I've done at least 100 websites in our baking and sweets industry. And I'm gonna tell you, these are like my pro tips for a gallery, because I've had so many people send me like 100 pictures, and I'm like, no, sweetie, I'm not going to post 100 pictures on your website, because nobody is scrolling through 100 pictures on your website. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time. Okay. So I'm going to tell you pro tips. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pro tips. First, I want you to show diversity of your work. Okay. So if you make birthday cakes, you don't have to post 15 drip cakes on your website. All right. Once we've seen it twice, we know exactly what your drip cakes are going to look like. Okay. Same thing with a rosette cake, or a Barbie cake where the dress is the cake part. Like, you only really need to show like 1 or 2 of those styles of cakes so that people can know what you're able to do. You don't have to post every single picture of every single drip cake that you've ever posted or created. Even if it is a beautiful picture, don't nobody need to see all of that. All right. So have some diversity in your pictures. Okay. The other thing too is to share the desirable projects that you want to create more of. Okay. So for instance, if you are not really interested in doing cake pops, there's no point in you posting cake pops on your gallery, because if people see it, then they're going to want to order it from you. Now, maybe you do offer cake pops as a secret menu item, or maybe you do it when you do a treat table or something like that. But if that's not something that you're interested in creating more of, then don't put it in your gallery. Okay. So only the things you want to do more of. All right. You want more sculpted cakes, or more sculpted cakes on your gallery. All right. I want you to limit the number of pictures that you put out there. I know, like I said, you can put, I believe, up to 50 on Cast Iron's website. However, I want you to limit that, like pick and choose the absolute best pictures that you have, from 10 to 20, maybe 25, if there is like such a big range of things that you offer on your menu. Okay. Another thing too is seasonal items. Now, this actually is just a personal pet peeve. And so I'm giving you guys, I'm gonna call it a pro tip, but it's also a personal pet peeve of mine, where people have items in their gallery that are seasonal when it is out of season. Okay, so I personally don't want to see your Santa cake pops, your Santa cookies, your snowflake, unless it's for frozen, unless it's a frozen themed cake. Like, I don't want to see things that are out of season on your gallery at that time, right? So, and this leads to the next point, which is to change out your images. I understand why people put out of season items in their gallery, because maybe they don't come back to their website that often. Maybe they don't update things on their website that often, but we need to get out of that practice. Okay. We need to curate and take more time curating and manicuring our personal websites in the same way that we do with social media. Just the way that now I'm not saying you have to update your website every single day like you do on social media, but you don't need to like let your website go dormant and die and have all of your old stuff from 5 years ago, whereas your Instagram and your TikTok has all of this new and relevant stuff. You need to actually take care of your website consistently as well, at least once a quarter, right? Like at least every time the seasons change, you should be going back to your website and making sure that it looks seasonally appropriate. Okay. So seasonal things only for the things in that season, and then change out your pictures on occasion. And I'm going to say at least, 2 to 4 times a year. I want you to change things out. Okay. All right. Another common barrier is minimal descriptions. All right. I will tell you, when it comes to people purchasing, they need to know what it is they're buying. All right. So like I said, it could be very tempting to kind of just be like, oh, it's only supposed to take me 10 minutes. I'm just going to write something generic and keep it moving. If you really want to get sales, you need to focus on what you're telling people is involved in this particular menu item. Okay. So when you're trying to quickly launch a website and get sales, it can be tempting not to put in the work when it comes to a full description and a complete description. Okay. But I don't want you guys to fall into that trap. All right. Unless you only work with, or you want to work with, customers who have already know you, or people who've already purchased from you, you need to share appetizing descriptions of your menu online. Okay. Customers who've never tasted your product or they've never purchased from you, they need descriptions to better understand what they can expect from your product and products and services, really. Okay. All right, so next month, and this is not the end of the training, but just so you know, because we're talking about descriptions right now, next month, we're going to talk about writing product descriptions. All right. And this hit me as I was doing my slides, because I was like, I could have done a whole 30 to 45-minute segment on how to write product descriptions. So we're going to do that in September. Okay. So the next training that we have next month, which keep an eye out for your email, and I'll send that to you guys so you know when the next one is coming up. But we will be talking about tips for writing your product descriptions. Okay. But on a high level, these are things that you're going to use when writing your descriptions. Okay. And I understand, and I know that, like, I'm talking about this right now because I know so many of you, like, words are not really the thing. Like, you're maybe very artistic, maybe very creative, and you love baking. But I know that a lot of folks in this industry struggle with, like, what am I supposed to say on my social media? What am I supposed to say on my blog and my email? Like, so, I mean, and this is the same way. Like, what am I supposed to say? How am I supposed to describe my product, right? So we are going to go through that exercise in more detail next month. All right, but high level, highlight the flavors. All right, so what flavor is it? Imagine that you're describing this to somebody who obviously has never tasted it before, right? Because that's what your customer is, right? Highlight key ingredients. I'm not saying that you have to say, well, this took a cup of flour. I'm saying you need to say, like, there's nuts involved, or it has buttermilk, or it is cream cheese, or something like that. Key ingredients that would be important to someone, caramel or something like that. Okay, so flavors and key ingredients almost really go hand in hand. Highlight a benefit, right? Like, so if this is a dozen cupcakes, it's going to save me time, because now as a mom, I'm not going to have to be in the kitchen trying to figure out what my kids are going to have at a birthday party. Or another benefit is that your guests are going to really enjoy like the flavor palette of this particular treat or cake or something. Okay, so highlight what are the benefits. It's going to save you time. Your guests are going to love it. Okay, other adjectives that kind of get people's minds stirring about how delicious this is going to be. So, such as delicious, delightful, decadent, buttery, chocolatey. Those are adjectives that are going to describe exactly what this product is. Okay. And then the other piece is to try your best to do somewhere between 3 to 5 sentences. All right. Even if you need to bullet them out like 3 to 5 lines, then try not to go less than 3 lines. Okay. So, whatever that means, right? So add in, matter of fact, I'm not even going to go down this road because I'm going to try to get some stuff off the top of my head. Come back to the training in September, and we're going to be chock full of examples to help you with writing these descriptions. Okay. But 3 to 5 sentences. Okay. Okay. Let me pause real quick. Make sure you guys don't have any questions. Anything so far? You guys good? Everybody good so far? I can't even see anything because I'm sharing my screen, so it's not telling me if you guys have any questions. So far, so good. Okay. Okay, good. Good stuff. Okay, this is great. Okay, good. All right, awesome. All right. So next piece is distractions. Don't you love how I paused on distractions? Okay, so distractions is another common sales barrier. Okay, so distractions. We're all busy, and it only takes a simple phone notification to get distracted and move on to something new. How many times have you been on a website, you added something to cart, and then you got a phone call or you got an email notification or something happened, and then you moved on, and next thing you know, you couldn't find that thing, you couldn't come back to it because you completely forgot what you're doing. Literally, this happened to me a couple weeks ago because Boo's birthday was just this past weekend, and I kept saying to myself, I need to order this cake. I need to order this cake. I don't want to be the customer that everybody complains about who waits for last minute to order this cake. And of course, I waited until the week of his birthday to order this cake, right? So things happen. People get distracted. Okay. So just know that, this kind of stuff happens, and that may be why people haven't placed an order with you, just because they got busy. Okay. Reminders and follow-up notifications will become your friend when it comes to sales. Okay. So if you can send out a reminder, or if you're in the Sugar Queen Academy, you heard me talk a ton about having your email blast and sending out newsletters and reminders, especially around the holidays or around people's anniversaries. You can do the exact same thing. Okay. Reminders and follow-up notifications will be a good friend for you when it comes to sales. Okay. If you can automate that process, that will make your life even better. All right. Speaking of, so one of the really cool things, another cool thing about Cast Iron is that they do have like a messaging feature on the website, like within the platform, so where you can send out automated emails. It'll send out automated emails for you. I believe it's weekly, every 2 weeks, and every month. Emily is on here, so hopefully she can confirm, but I believe it is like weekly, every 2 weeks, or once a month, I believe, that it'll send out an automated email for you. You can tell it exactly which items. Yep, Boom. She said, you choose weekly, every 2, or monthly. There it is. And then you can choose what products are included in this automated email. All right. This is not something that's automatic either. So you can turn it on or you can turn it off. All right. So if you choose to turn it on, then it'll send out these email updates for you to your customers within whatever frequency it is that you've chosen, or you can turn it off if you want to send your own, manual emails as well. Okay, so again, this will make your life a lot easier if you are trying to make sure that people don't get distracted, people place orders in a timely manner and so forth. Okay. Yes, Nancy, squirrel. Yes, that is me. When it comes to distractions, I've been known to go to Facebook to post something for business. I get to the website, my feed refreshes, and next thing I know, it's 15 minutes later, and I'm like, why am I on Facebook again? Almost every time. Same thing with Instagram. Why am I here again? Yeah. So if it happens to us as business owners, you know that it definitely happens to your customers. Okay. Okay. And then the last one is lack of trust. All right. So another sales barrier that keeps people purchasing from you is a lack of trust. And this actually goes hand in hand with that piece that I talked about, where I said people, it's very easy for you to get to where you don't put as much into the descriptions. So along with that, it can be very tempting to not put as much into your bio and all that kind of stuff. And when you don't give that much context, then people are kind of leery to purchase from you because there's a lot of scammers out there. Right. So getting support from your friends, family, and coworkers is great, but that won't sustain your business in the long run. You have to work with strangers, people who don't know you yet. All right. In order to get sales from strangers, air quotes, strangers, you'll need to build trust with your audience. Okay. What does that look like? On social media, you need to make sure that you have consistent content. All right. Now, yes, everybody can have a website, and yes, everybody can have a social media page. And that doesn't mean that you're not a scammer, right? But what builds trust with people is if they see that you are constantly showing up on social media. You post videos of you doing your work. You have some video of you saying hello or introducing yourself or going on deliveries. That's what's going to help build trust on social media. Okay. And believe that when people find your website just randomly through Google, then they're going to go to your social media page. I know that's one of the first things I do when I'm working with the business. I go to their social media page and I see what else they have going on. Okay. I see the last time that they posted, because guess what? As long as you continue to pay for your domain name, then it may look like you have an active business. But when it comes to, if you go to your social media page and they haven't posted in 3 years, then I'm going to be leery that they even have a business anymore, right? Even though their website may still be paid up, they may not actually have a consistent business anymore. So social media, having that consistency there is going to help build the trust. Okay. What does it look like on your website? Having an about us, having a bio, having some type of background story that explains who you are. And like I said, it can be tempting, just like with your product descriptions, to just kind of like, hey, I'm Cyd from Atlanta and I bake and I've been baking since I was a kid. It can be really easy to do something like that, quick and simple, and then try to just launch a website. But you need to come back to it and put in some really good, put in some details, put in some live, show your personality and explain who you are so that you can build that trust. Okay. When it comes to cast iron, one of the things that's helpful is that they also have badges, right? So that can tell a little bit more about your story and build trust as well, right? It says that you can pick whichever badges you want to include on your page, right? So even if we go back several slides ago when I was showing that other store that's on cast iron, you could have seen those badges for that particular company, right? That sweet shop. But here you can say where your products are made. You can talk about the certifications that you might have. If you have any type of dietary items that you specialize in, or if you have a business that has like a specialty niche, such as minority owned or woman owned or something like that. Okay. Okay. So quick recap. When it comes to common sales barriers that you want to make sure you have fixed on your social media as well as on your website. So these are, if you're going back, like I said, the homework basically is to review your sales process. As you're reviewing your sales process with fresh eyes, make sure that each of these items are not an issue with your business, because they are common when it comes to the sales process as being sales barriers and issues that keep people from purchasing from you. Okay, so navigation issues, not knowing where to go when they come to your website, or not having a clear direction of buttons, call to actions, all that kind of stuff, that can be an issue that makes people come to your website and then just leave. Bad images, things that don't show up well on your website or your social media. Maybe it's not as appetizing as it looked in person, but now on film, it doesn't look the same. Minimal descriptions, people not exactly knowing what it is they're purchasing, like how many items are going to be in this thing that I purchased. What are the flavors? What are some things, like, what if I have allergies? Is there stuff that may mess with my allergies? And that's another thing too, I've forgotten, I didn't even put a slide here, and it's completely slipped my mind. But when you create products on cast iron, you can also say what type of allergens may be impacted by this product and the ingredients in the product. Okay. Another thing too is distractions. People coming to your website, getting a notification from somewhere else, and then going away, right? So you can fix that by having reminders and notifications and constant communication with folks who are purchasing with you. And then the last piece is a lack of trust. So you want to make sure that you have your bio on point. You want to make sure you have those badges in place. You want to make sure everything is updated and shows your personality, and that you are a real human being that people can purchase from. All right.